Thank you very much, everyone. If we could just start on the second part of tonight's discussion, which relates to retail. And we'll kick off with the first question. How can we improve Westminster's retail offer in shopping environment? Hilary Skinner in the policy team deals with retail, and she was just going to do a short introduction.
Thanks, Lisa. Sorry, can everyone hear me? Is that working okay? Just really wanted to give a little bit of background information. So we are talking about shopping units in Westminster. Just to give you an idea of where these shopping units are distributed around the city. We have approximately 8,500 shops within Westminster. They're spread throughout the area shown on this map within our designated hierarchy of shopping centres. On here you can see the primary shopping frontages of Oxford Street, Bond Street, Regent Street, shown in the red. The wider CAS area, shown in the kind of orange colour. We've also got a green major shopping centre, blue district shopping centres and smaller red local centres, all shown on that map. There's also copies on the side if you're interested in looking at those. Just to, really quickly, you'll be aware of the use class order. Just to give a tiny bit of background of the limitations within our policy approach, we can't control individual occupiers. Unfortunately, we don't own the majority of shops within Westminster, so we can't choose who moves into particular units. We can, however, manage development between the use classes. So on the left-hand side of this use class order, you can see the A-class uses. Permission would be allowed to change between A3 restaurant, for example, to a shop, but not vice versa. Just to give you a little bit of a background. If you've got any questions as we go through, I'm happy to answer questions as we go. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. So does anyone want to kick off with some ideas about how we can improve Westminster's retail offer, a shopping environment, any sort of general constraints that you want to raise or any general points under retail?
I don't necessarily want to respond to how you can do it across the whole of Westminster. I think it's more in terms of certain other areas that under policy already are defined under the London plan, such as the opportunity area. And I think quite rightly you've picked that up in terms of the east end of Oxford Street and the regeneration there. And I think from our perspective it's understanding what policy you're thinking of putting in place to underpin the opportunity area and to obviously provide retailers as operators, the maximum opportunity to trade and to extend what is the world's, or especially London's #1 retailing space, and to keep it as a prominent location within London.
Sure. Thanks for your comment. Sorry, can you hear me still? I can't quite hear the feedback. The two policy approaches actually cover the eastern end of Oxford Street. You're quite right in saying the Tottenham Court Road opportunity area will cover that area. Basically there we're looking to provide employment, if we can housing, but we can recognise that other strategic benefits may actually be more important for that particular area than the need for housing. So, for example, if we can bring in Crossrail, which is hopefully coming through, Crossrail can come in, we can provide retail units with that, oversight development, for example, office buildings above that, and try and actually improve the environment, the physical environment, if you like, so the public realm, the street scene, the way people move around, so legibility, put signs up so people know where they're going, where they are. Overlapping that, there's the West End Special Retail Policy Area, which is actually shown as the black boundary line on this map. That's a proposal coming through the LDF core strategy as well. And in a way, a similar approach to the eastern end of Oxford Street, we prioritise retail in that area. We also prioritise public realm improvements. We may be more flexible with the provision of housing in that area, so especially along the primary frontages, which, as I've said, is the red street shown on here. We may accept improved retail space and more retail, perhaps in some circumstances could offset the requirement for residential on that actual site.
Thank you. I think it goes back to the planning obligations, section 106, and I think moreover what we'd like to see is your priorities and how retail fits within that as well, just to respond. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to make an observation on the use class orders. The A3 can automatically, or without planning permission, be turned into an A1. This is all right for some areas, and probably no complaint whatsoever. But in some other areas, such as St James that I represent, it is a real problem because you can start off with an A3 high-class restaurant, and it sounds very snobbish, but as the use class order is at the moment, without further ado, it could suddenly turn overnight into an A1 coffee shop or sandwich bar. And in an area that has already been recognised by the City Council as being unique and special, this is doesn't give us any help whatsoever. So we are already looking through our solicitors of ways of trying to revise the 2005 use class order amendment, because it's an anomaly which is all right for some people but not for everyone.
Thank you. The gentleman in the front.
I just wanted to, I don't know if this is working or not, pick up on the point about the upper floors, uses above the retail. I just think to bear in mind from a retail perspective, if you're trying to improve the quality of retail, the more uses you put above the retail, the more challenging the use on the ground floor becomes due to the number of entrances, the number of fire escapes required. And particularly on the core streets, it's an issue because you're basically taking space away from the retailers. The other bit I wanted to touch on was in terms of improving the retail offer. It's all about using the existing, it's creating the best space you can out of the existing buildings or out of new buildings for the retailers. A lot of you're very fortunate, the footfall, some of the key drivers are already in place. It's the actual fabric of the buildings, particularly at the east end of the street, the configuration of the space that is the challenge, which is why it is trading as it is at the moment.
Thank you. The gentleman behind.
Yeah, I'm Mark Henderson from Savile Row. I just wanted to really support what the gentleman in front of me said about the shift in usage from A3 to A1 on restaurants. Clearly, the only way that the West End can remain a world-class retail environment is if it satisfies the sort of people that come and live there. And Mayfair is probably the most wonderful and exclusive area to live in the world. The retail offer must reflect the sort of people that are living and visiting the area. And so I think from Savile Row's perspective, there are some very simple practical points that we really want to be paid careful attention to, which is, curiously enough, we have workshops and we have 100 working tailors on Savile Row. If those workshops become something else, there won't be working tailors on Savile Row, which means there won't be a bespoke business, and the character of the area will be destroyed. And the second thing I just wanted to say is that there has been some absolutely spectacular, clever usage of very big spaces by retailers. And I presume although I don't know it firsthand, I presume with the imaginative help of Westminster. And two I can think of are, first of all, the Apple building on Regent Street, and the other one is Abercrombie and Fitch, where they must have really struggled to use that absolutely magnificent building at the end of Savile Row, but they've done a fantastic job, and the more of those we have, the better. And I hope that nobody's too worried about what may be happening to the east or the west of